I am Hannah, aka the Paperback Bruncher. Welcome back to my booktube. Today we are going to discuss 31 books on my spooky season TBR. We're going to go through them rapid fire. I'll give you author, title, genre, and a synopsis that is only 1 to 2 sentences to see if it piques your interest. And after that, we'll do a quick
haunted library tour.
If you haven't already, make sure to hit like and subscribe so that you can support me here on BookTube. Let's get into it, yeah? The beauty of this spooky season TBR is I have tried to include a wide variety of genres as well as authors, and to keep them all relatively short so that we can just read as many spooky books as possible. Starting with Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. So our synopsis for this one is Thornhedge is a tale of a kind-hearted, toad-shaped heroine, a gentle knight, and a mission gone completely sideways. There's a princess trapped in a tower. This isn't her story. So this one is out now. It is super short and sweet, and I feel like this is the kind of momentum that I need right off the bat to get started on spooky season. And this book is technically a fantasy, it's fiction, it's fairy tale inspired. Thornhedge is actually a fairy tale retelling. It's a twist on Sleeping Beauty. So if you love a fairy tale retelling, I know I do, this is a perfect place to start. I think one of the best parts about being born in 1993 is the fact that I get to share my birth year with the incredible movie The Nightmare Before Christmas. And last year, I think it was, Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shea Ernshaw was released, and I just didn't get to it on my TBR, and I think that this is about as perfect as you can get for Halloween. I mean, it's just another way to dive back into the wonderful Tim Burton story. This book in particular follows Sally instead of Jack. She's been appointed the Queen of Halloween Town, and she's not necessarily loving this new job of hers, and she's wondering if this is all that she's meant for and if her and Jack are truly meant to be. So she is going through a lot of questions that she's asking herself and hoping that her new life is not, well, a nightmare. This is young adult and this is fantasy, and it was published August 2nd of 2022, and it's 315 pages. So this next one is perfect for if you're not planning on reading a lot of books for spooky season, but you still want a decent amount of variety. It's called Night of the Living Queers, and it's edited by Shelly Page and Alex Brown. It's a YA horror anthology, and it features 13 different terror delight stories, and they are all queer authors of color. So you're gonna get a lot of variety in the stories in here, different perspectives from different authors. I feel like it would be a really fun activity if you wanted to do 13 nights leading up to Halloween and each night read a different story, something like that. But it's perfect for pacing yourself and just trying something different and kind of easing into a little bit of horror, especially because it's YA. It probably won't be too scary. Don't quote me on that, but that is just my prediction. Also, the cover is super cute, and it is a pretty good size, not too long. It's 320 pages, and this one is out as of August 29th of this year. Next up, we are getting into a different genre. This is actually YA mystery. It's called Secrets Never Die. It's by Vincent Ralph. We call it The Dark Place. I don't know who built it or when, but for us, it's special. The ceremony, the tradition, the dark place. One night a year, we bury our secrets. Now they have a life of their own. I mean, if that doesn't make you want to read it, I have nothing for you. Like I said, this is YA mystery. It is 368 pages, and this one is out as of August 29th. So this is also a hot and fresh release. All right, so this next one is the Bookstagram Book Talk darling that we have been saying absolutely everywhere. It's Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I have no idea, honestly, if this is even spooky at all or feels like the right kind of story for Halloween time. However, it is part of a series that's called Letters of Enchantment, and this is book 1. So that kind of makes me feel like there's a magical element to it. Let's look into what this one is about to see if it does have some magical elements and to see if it actually kind of fits in Either way, I'm keeping it in the TBR because I just really want to read it, and I feel like the cover also kind of gives a magic vibe. When two young rival journalists find love through a magical connection, they must face the depths of hell in a war among gods to seal their fate forever. And this is also recommended for fans of Shadow and Bone. So I think that's perfect. I think it works for spooky season TBR. I don't want all of the spooky season TBR to be the same. I don't want it to blend into each other. I want there to be different genres and vibes, and it's got magic. It makes the list. I think that works. Next one I have been dying to read. I have read everything by this author already except for this one, which just came out on June 20th. This is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I love his books. I think he is such a good thriller author. I just think they're exactly what they should be. They are so much fun. They get you turning from page to page to page to find out what happens next, and I can't get enough. So I have been pre-ordering, even though I'm a paperback girly. Like, you can see I've got his books building in my collection back here, but I'm just obsessed. This one in particular, I wanted to read it in June the second it came out, and I told myself, you're gonna go on vacation, so you'll be gone for about a month, and then when you get back, it's basically spooky season. Just wait. So I've been very anxiously awaiting to read this one. I haven't really read too much about what it's about, so let's just give ourselves a small snippet as to not spoil anything. Oh my god. There's a creepy little poem.
At 17, Lenora Hope hung her sister with a rope, stabbed her father with a knife, took her mother's happy life. It wasn't me, Lenora said, but she is the only one not dead.
What? Okay, I'm not even gonna read the rest of the description below each of those little parts of the song, because that just gave me chills. Fantastic. No words, no notes. This is gonna be so much fun. I can feel it in my bones. This is spooky season. This is spooky. Also, that cover, spooky as hell. Look at that creepy little house. Yes. And this one is 385 pages. It is a thriller / mystery, and as I mentioned, it came out June 20th of 2023. We've got another super hyped book that I've tried to avoid what too much of it is about, so it's not spoiled for me, but it is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Myrer. This is one of those books that I pre-ordered purely, not gonna lie, because it had sprayed edges, a super cool title, and a super pretty cover. But this exactly sounds like my cup of tea. It's dubbed as Once Upon a Time Meets The Office, in a laugh out loud viral TikTok series turned novel about the sunshine assistant to an evil villain and their unexpected romance. So it's giving grumpy sunshine, which is one of my favorite tropes. It's also my IRL relationship. I am clearly grumpy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm clearly the sunshine. He's clearly the grumpy. I call him my Roy Kent to my Keeley. But it sounds fantastic. It looks beautiful. It's giving the perfect vibes for Halloween. This one came out in this new cover September 5th of this year, and it is fantasy romance, aka romantasy, and it's 352 pages. All right, this next one is dropping October 3rd of this year, so you will have to pre-order, or if you're watching after October 3rd, it'll be available then. But this is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I have already read quite a few books by this author already, and they just do not disappoint. So I'm really excited to see what this one is about. I'm loving these creepy gothic vibes from the cover, and once again, all of their books are pretty good size as well. So I'm very into that. The fact that they're not too long, hopefully we can keep the momentum going here. This one is dubbed as fantasy, horror, and gothic. It also says there's some adult romance and mystery. So a grim and gothic new tale from author Alex E. Harrow about a small town haunted by secrets that can't stay buried, and the sinister house that sits at the crossroads of it all. One thing about me that I'm going to eat up in books and shows, in movies every single time, is when the house becomes a character. Especially houses, it could be other buildings, but especially if it's creepy and the house becomes this like own character of itself. There's almost like a personality. What's coming to mind here specifically is Mexican Gothic, which my book club read a couple years ago. This book is also very much Gothic. It's got like a creepy house vibe, and I just will read that same concept over and over and over again and eat it up absolutely every single time. I'm never gonna get sick of it. So Starling House is getting me so hyped. Honestly, I'm just like reading these synopsis, like what is the plural of synopsis? Anyways, reading the synopsis of all of these books is not something I typically do, because I try to go in with like blinders on and like just go for it and be surprised along the way. But this is getting me like extra hyped to read these. Like, I want to abandon all of the books that I'm trying to finish for the rest of this month of September and just like go for it, but I really need to finish those first. But this TBR is already so juicy and we're only like a third of the way in. I don't even know what to tell you. This next one is apparently an oldie but a goodie. It's new to me, but probably not new to you. It's Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead. So I've never read Vampire Academy. I've never watched Vampire Academy. I am a Twilight diehard, aka a Twihard is what they used to call it back in the day. I don't know if that stuck around, but that's what we used to call ourselves. Through and through, I am absolutely obsessed. I've read that series multiple times, and I love a vampire story. Like, I love the All Souls trilogy. There's some vampires in that as well. And I just think there needs to be some vampires on a spooky season TBR. And I felt like I would like to read something that a lot of you have already read. So my dear friend Chris actually bought me the box set for a housewarming present as I was moving into the library. She sent it to me and was like, hey, I love this series. Like, I hope you do too. Enjoy, add it to your new home library. So thank you, Chris. And also, I'm just very excited to dive into it. And it's on Peacock, so maybe I'll get Peacock after I read it and kind of like read and watch, or maybe I read the whole thing through and watch. But either way, I'm excited to dive into a series that so many of you already love. If you are like me and you don't know anything about Vampire Academy, let's learn a little bit about what it's about. Only a true best friend can protect you from your immortal enemies. It's Lissa Dragomir. She is a Morai princess, a mortal vampire with a rare gift for harnessing the Earth's magic. She has to be protected at all times from Strigoi, the fiercest of vampires, the ones who never die. Okay, so that's giving kind of like the Eternals vibes. Like, I watched the Vampire Diaries, so that's kind of what that's giving a little bit for me, like the Eternals vibes, and that is a good thing. Like, I'm in, I'm down. This is 332 pages, and it was first published, for anyone curious, in August 16th of 2007. Right, speaking of vampires, I mentioned earlier how much I love also All Souls trilogy. As I've said before, this TBR is all books that are entirely new to me, so don't worry, that's not going to be on there. However, this book, The Witch and the Vampire by Francesca Flores, is on the list. And the reason I'm bringing up All Souls is because there is a romantic interest between a witch and a vampire. And if this book has that as well,
oh yes,
game over. Like, that is one of my favorite tropes. I don't know, can you call it a trope? I think you can. Vampire, witch, love story, forbidden love, like, it also kind of gives enemies to lovers because, like, they shouldn't be together, but they want to. And it's just good every time. every time. It always hits. This is a queer Rapunzel retelling where a witch and a vampire who trust no one but themselves must journey together through a cursed forest with danger at every turn. It's fantasy, it is queer, as we've mentioned, it's young adult, it's romance, and there is vampires. So 368 pages. This was published on March 21st of 2023. I mentioned we are going for variety on this spooky season TBR. So I also wanted to include some cute and some cozy stories as well, including some cute romance. So this is book 1 of the Fix It Witches series by Anne Aguirre. This is Witch Please. I just think that like it looks freaking adorable. I also have the next 2 in the series if I just like can't get enough immediately. And the cover says sheer happiness in a book. And I just feel like that's always a good sign. It's romance, it's witches, it's paranormal, and it's also contemporary. And it's dubbed as Practical Magic meets Gilmore Girls. And it has a bisexual virgin baker with a curse, a witch looking to avoid romantic entanglements, and chemistry between them that causes literal sparks. Yes, that sounds so cute. Okay, I mean, I'm already starting my annual Gilmore Girls rewatch. It's just, 'tis the season. The la 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 la. Okay, anyways, you get it. But also, obviously, I love Practical Magic. I think Practical Magic is tied with Hocus Pocus #1 for my favorite movie for Halloween. I mean, I have a lot, but like they just hit in different ways. And Practical Magic, that house, the sisterhood, the witches, and the vengeance, you know, fuck the patriarchy. But anyways, it's so good. Cozy, cute romance for Halloween. Boom. And this one is 363 pages. It was first published in September 7th of 2021. And as I mentioned, if you just can't get enough after this, there is actually 3 more books in the series after this. So I've only got the next 2, but there's a lot of fun to be had in this world. Let's move into additional cute and cozy romances for the holidays. Witch by Gwenda Bond. If I am picking up on what they're putting down, I think this is supposed to be kind of a play on Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie movie. In Mr. and Mrs. Witch, the next novel from bestselling author Gwenda Bond, a couple discovers at the altar the surprising secret identities that they've kept from each other. So Savannah Wilde is a witch, a very powerful one that only her fellow witches know. And Griffin Carter is a top agent for a clandestine organization that is, well, used primarily for being witch hunters. So there's that. It's short and sweet at 352 pages. First published March 7th of 2023, and this is once again romantasy. We are keeping it light and fluffy for the moment, bringing on the Hollywood Jinx by Sarah Wilson. Stay with me here. This one might not look like an obvious, Halloween pick. However, Jinx, This one I purely put on the list because it's giving small town and it's a little bit more like Stars Hollow, Gilmore Girls energy to me. So the small town of Patience needs a dire financial boost. Temporary librarian and aspiring film score composer Jane Wagner's plan to invite movie star Nick Haddon to the town's Harvest Festival and stand back for the tourist surge. No one thought he would say yes, much less that he'd bring a documentary crew to stream his visit. So there is a lot of drama in this one. Jane is very much romantically jinxed. So it's soft on the season, but there's a harvest festival, there's small town, And I think that's enough. This one is 297 pages. It was published on July 5th of 23, and it is a contemporary romance. All right, we are keeping it cute. We are going for a adorable YA romance here. It is also a retelling. So this is Ghosted by Amanda Quain. It's the first in a new series, and it's dubbed as Never Have I Ever Meets the X-Files, a gender-bent contemporary retelling of the Jane Austen classic Northanger Abbey. So super cute. I'm not familiar with that particular Jane Austen, so let's give ourselves a little bit more on what this is about. So Hattie Tinley is apparently not a believer in the paranormal. She is a senior at the most allegedly haunted high school, Northanger Abbey, and her paranormal loving dad has passed away, so she has long since hung up her Ghostbusters suit, and she just doesn't believe in any of that anymore. However, Hattie gets assigned to be an ambassador to Kit Moreland, a golden retriever of a boy who's transferred to Northanger on a ghost hunting scholarship. There is going to be some wit and slow burn and a sparkling retelling that proves sometimes the ghosts are just a metaphor after all. This next cover, you'll see exactly why it had to be on the spooky season TBR. I mean, beautiful. When Life Gives You Vampires by Gloria Duke. It's dubbed as a It's a paranormal dumpling, like Dumpling by Julie Murphy. It is part of a journey of body positivity through a story about learning how to accept love at face value, and part a hysterical rom-com told through a paranormal lens. Say less. So I'm down. This one came out October 4th of 2022. So much for the afterlife, and it's romance, it's vampires, paranormal, and it's 320 pages. Got two more cute romances, and then we'll get back into a little bit darker energy yet again. All right, this one that is my most recent purchase from my local used bookstore. It's Witchful Thinking by Celestine Martin. Love is the trickiest spell of all. Lucinda Carraway lives in Freya Grove, a mystic seaside town where charms, hexes, and magical beings of all kinds are the norm. She just has a great life but can't help but wish for more. And until one night, that little wish becomes a spell, and Lucy just can't say no. Not to a public karaoke performance, not to running a 10K, and most alarmingly, not to her high school crush, Alexander Dwyer, who needs her help unjinxing his new house, which happens to be just across the street from hers. Dun dun dun. I love a romance, girl next door. Once again, the house is kind of a character in this story as well, a little bit less sinister, but it sounds super cute. It sounds silly. It sounds like something that I will be giggling as I'm reading, and I can't wait to read it. It's romance, it's fantasy, it's witches, it's contemporary, it's 333 pages, and this one was published September 27th, 2022. Our last romance of the group, Not Your Ex's Hexes by April Asher. This is actually book 2 in the Supernatural single series, but you can definitely read it by itself. This follows a one-night stand between a willful witch and a broody half-demon, conjuring an adventure that wouldn't be complete without several magical mishaps. You know I love these paranormal cross-species relationships. I just can't get enough. This sounds super cute, and I want to read the whole series, but I'm gonna start with this one. And it's 343 pages, and this one was published in February 7th of 2023. However, if you do want to read the one before this, it is called Not the Witch You Wed. Keeping it short and sweet, and like I said, moving on to something darker yet again. This is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Bayron. One of my good friends said this book was fantastic. Casey, shout out to you. And said everything this author writes is absolute gold. So I have been buying her books one by one. I have not yet dove in. However, this is the shortest of the bunch, so I feel like it's a perfect place once again to dive in and get some momentum.
At Camp Mirror Lake, terror is the name of the game. But can you survive the night?
It's horror, it's young adult, it looks like there are some queer characters as well. There's thriller, mystery, and it's also contemporary. It's only 230 pages, and this one came out June 20th of 2023. This next one is a book that I have had on my spooky TBR for like 3 years now and counting, and I swear, no, I'm getting to it this year. It's The Good Luck Girls by Charlotte Nicole Davis, and if this doesn't intrigue you, it's Westworld meets The Handmaid's Tale. There's Aster the Protector, Violet the Favorite, Tansy the Medic, Mallow the Fighter, and Clementine the Catalyst, and they make up the Good Luck Girls. They know their luck is anything but, and they were sold to a welcome house as children and branded with cursed markings, trapped in a life they would never chosen. When Clementine accidentally murders a man, the girls risk a dangerous escape and harrowing journey to find freedom, justice, and revenge in a country that wants them to have none of those things. It's fantasy, it's young adult, it's also historical fiction, and there is some queer characters in this book as well. It's 352 pages, and this one was initially published in October 1st of 2019. Next we have Bring Me Your Midnight by Richelle Griffing. This is the art cover. It has a quote. It says, "He comes alive in darkness, so darkness I become." I'll put a picture of the actual cover, but this one is a lush romantic fantasy about forbidden love, the choices we make, and the pull between duty and desire. Once again, romantasy, young adult. There are witches in here as well. It's 320 pages, and this one came out August 1st of 2023. This one is a little bit of a interesting one because it technically doesn't come out until November 7th, but I've got an art copy of it, and I feel like the vibes are definitely creepy, so I'm adding it to my spooky season TBR. However, you might be wanting to do like a Nightmare Before Christmas kind of vibe and just read spooky into November, or at least until Thanksgiving, so I think I should include it on the list. It's When I'm Dead by Hannah Morrissey. One girl murdered, another one missing, and a medical examiner desperate to uncover the truth in the latest Black Harbor mystery by acclaimed author Hannah Morrissey. I've already requested the other two before this on my library app on Libby, so I am just excited for some, mystery, thriller, suspense, and to try a new thriller author, because it's been a while since I've read a thriller and just found another author to love. So I'm hyped for this one. It's also 320 pages, and as I mentioned, this one is coming out on November 7th of 2023. All right, I said we were gonna get darker and we were gonna get creepier. There has to be some horror on this list as well. And if this cover doesn't terrify you, I don't know what will. This is Ghost Eaters by McLeod Chapman. And one thing you should know about this author is Riley Sager is obsessed with him. And if I know Riley Sager is obsessed with any author, I will read what they read because I'm obsessed with Riley. So this book looks absolutely terrifying. It is horror, it is fiction, and it's paranormal, and there is, of course, ghosts. So we've got witches, we've got vampires, we've got ghosts. We are just building a creepy little crew of creatures. I am going to read you the full synopsis of this one because it is short and sweet and absolutely creepy. Erin hasn't been able to set a single boundary with her charismatic but reckless college ex-boyfriend Silas. When he asked her to bail him out of rehab, again, she knows she needs to cut him off. But days after he gets out, Silas turns up dead of an overdose in their hometown of Richmond, Virginia, and Aaron's world falls apart. Then a friend tells her about Ghost, a new drug that allows users to see the dead. Want to get haunted, he asks. Grieving and desperate for closure with Silas, Aaron agrees to a pill-popping seance, but the drug has some unfathomable side effects, and once you take it, you can never go back. You might want to read this one with the lights on. Once again, this is Ghost Eaters by Clay McLeod Chapman. It's 304 pages. It's horror, and this one came out September 20th of 2022. Keeping up with the horror, but going for young adult this time, we've got Holly Horror by Michelle Yabes Corpora. And this, like I said, is young adult horror. It's paranormal, and it even lists Halloween as one of the genres, so I was absolutely sold. Also, this cover is cool as hell. This is a beloved classic reimagined with a dark twist. So her parents had a painful divorce. Evie hopes that moving to Ravenglass, Massachusetts is going to be the fresh start that her family needs. But she quickly realizes that this new home, known by locals as the Horror House, has its own dark past. And after learning about Holly Hobby, who mysteriously vanished in her bedroom one night. So traces of Holly linger in the horror house and slowly begin to take over Evie's life. A strange shadow is following her everywhere she goes, and Evie starts to lose sight of what's real and what isn't the more she learns about the lost girl. You know I love a creepy house. There's so many creepy house stories on this TBR, and I can't pick which one I'm more excited for. You can see even on the cover here, there is the creepy little house in the bonnet. So cool. So once again, this is horror, it's young adult. It's also 320 pages, and this one just came out in August, so August 15th of 2023. This next one here is more of a classic that I have never read anything by this author. So this is Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. This one was originally published in May 5th of 1976. So it's a gothic horror and vampire novel, and it's based around a short story centering vampire Louis Despoint, who tells the story of his life to a reporter. And I know there's also an adaptation of this one, so I'm hoping that I can fly through it and then watch the, I think it's movie as well. And one is 308 pages, and it is dubbed as horror. It's also dubbed as vampire literature, gothic fiction, fantasy, etc. All right, so speaking of practical magic, the same author who wrote Practical Magic also wrote this book, which is called The Invisible Hour, Alice Hoffman. This is an enchanting novel about love, heartbreak, self-discovery, and the enduring magic of books. One brilliant June day, when Mia Jacob can no longer see a way to survive, the power of words saves her. The Scarlet Letter was written almost 200 years earlier, but it seems to tell the story of Mia's mother Ivy and their life inside the community, an oppressive cult in western Massachusetts where contact with the outside world is forbidden and books are considered evil. I'm gonna leave it there. It's historical fiction and there is magical realism, which is one of my favorite genres. This one is 272 pages and it was published August 15th of 2023. Sticking with this historical fiction vibe, we next up have Reader, I Murdered Him by Betsy Cornwell. I figure, Halloween, murder, it's creepy, we'll include it. This is a daring tale of female agency and revenge. A girl becomes a teenage vigilante who roams Victorian England, using her privilege and power to punish her friends' abusive suitors and to keep other young women safe. Fuck yeah. So once again, historical fiction, it's young adult. This one also has queer characters, It's 304 pages long, and it was first published November 15th of 2022. 4 left. Like I said, we're going for some variety here. So I actually wanted to start getting more into cozy mysteries, and where better to start than the A Bake Shop mystery series by Ellie Alexander. So this is book 1. It's called Meet Your Baker. All of the books in the series, by the way, have freaking adorable punny titles that are baking related, and they're so cute. So this is a cozy mystery. Welcome to Tort a Friendly small town family bake shop where the treats are so good that, well, sometimes it's criminal. Juliet returns to her quaint hometown of Ashland after graduating culinary school to heal her broken heart and help her mom at the family bakery. The Oregon Shakespeare Festival is bringing in a lot of tourists for some crumpets to go with their heroic couplets, but when one of Tort's customers turns up dead, there's much ado about murder. This one is 307 pages, and it was originally published in December of 2014. And once again, the series is called A Bake Shop Mystery. And if you just want a series to completely immerse yourself in and just get lost in with many, many books, this is going to be the one for you. As of right now, it looks like there are 18 books in this series. We've got up next The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. This was one that I bought last year because I just saw it everywhere and I had to get my hands on it. It's about Florence Day, the ghost writer for one of the most prolific romance authors in the industry. And after a terrible breakup, she no longer believes in love. It's as good as dead. She gets a terrible call that her father has passed away, so she goes home to this town that she does not want to visit. It's the first time she's been back in over a decade. The town's never understood her. It feels like nothing in this town ever changes, and she hates it. She finds a ghost standing at the funeral parlor's front door, just as broad and infuriatingly handsome as ever. And he's confused about what he's doing there, and so is she. So romance is most certainly dead. It's romance, it's contemporary, it's paranormal. It's 368 pages. This one came out June 28th of 2022. Last but not least, we've got 2 more books here, and both of them are thrillers because I can read a thriller in a day, and I love reading thrillers in the fall, starting with the Taken one. So this is the first in a series that's called A Steinbeck and Reed, and the author here is Jess Laurie. 2 girls vanished, a woman buried alive. Between the 2 crimes, decades of secrets yet to be unearthed. As our 2 characters here, Van and Harry, connect the crimes of the past and the present, Van is struggling with memories of her own nightmarish childhood and the fear that uncovering the truth of the taken ones will lead her down a path from which she too may never return. So it's thriller, it's mystery, and there is a lot of suspense. There's some like true crime element to it, which I always love. And it's 332 pages. This one just came out September 19th, 2023. Last but not least, to round out our thrillers, is All the Dangerous Things by Stacy Willingham. 1 year ago, Isabel Drake's life changed forever. Her toddler son, Mason, was taken out of his crib in the middle of the night while she and her husband were asleep in the next room. With little evidence and few leads for the police to chase, the case quickly went cold. However, Isabel cannot rest until Mason is returned to her. Literally. Except for the occasional catnap or small blackout where she loses track of time, she hasn't slept in a year. Her whole existence revolves around finding him, and she knows she can't go on this way forever. She is determined to find the truth, no matter where it leads. Thriller, mystery, suspense, adult, true crime, 326 for our pages here. And this one just came out this year as well on January 10th of 2023. That's the spooky season TBR 31 books that I am hoping to read this spooky season. Let me know if you have any of the same books on your spooky season TBR, and maybe we can try to read them at the same time. Or let me know what you have planned for your creepy, spooky, cozy, or cute types of raids for the season. And now let's get into touring the haunted library.